All right, well, first of all, thanks for taking the time to join us today. We appreciate it.
Oh, hey, no problem. My pleasure.
I've always heard you say that it's tough to sit back and wait for quality roles to come along, so you started your own production company, made entertainment to simply create them. I recently watched Compound Fraction. I have to say you were spot on. That wasn't your typical horror affair, was it?
No, it wasn't. We wanted to, make it a little more in depth and tell a story and peel the onion back and have fun with it, And that's what we ended up doing.
And I've noticed for Penance Lane, you have a lot of the same cast members as you had in Compound Fracture. Is that like a similar stance, like Rob Zombie, Quentin Tarantino? You see these guys in all their films; they seem to cast the same people, and they say that they're familiar, you can trust them. Is that kind of the way you feel about things?
Yeah, exactly. And it's with my wife and I. They're our friends, and we just love to create with them, and we just have a great time doing it. So, why not do it again?
Hey, your first big film role was in X-Men, and by the sounds of things, you had an interesting first encounter with Bryan Singer.
Yeah, working with Bryan was fantastic to be able to, to kick it all off.
Can you talk about that a little bit when you walked in to do your audition?
Oh, when I met him.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. I tell you, I was up for to do the stunts and stuff, and then they called me in to actually play Sabretooth, and I was glad because I wasn't a stuntman. I'd been a pro wrestler in that, but I went out and I got read the comic books, and I got the fake teeth and put them in, and to look more the part. To look like Sabretooth, and I walk into Bryan's office, and there's this young guy sitting on the edge of the couch typing on the computer.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'm here to see Bryan. And he just kind of kept his head down typing and put up like a finger like, just a minute, I'll get with you in a second.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what the hell? So then he finished typing the page he was working on, or the scene he was working on, and then he looked up and he goes, I'm Bryan. I was like, oh, okay. All right. So I learned never judge a book by its cover there, and then my audition process was, he's like, wow, you got the teeth in. He literally stood on the glass table and he said, choke me, and I choked him and became Sabretooth.
Yeah, that's a great story.
That's my Bryan Singer story. Yes.
Yeah, I've heard you say in the past that growing up wasn't the easiest thing for you, and your dyslexia had a lot to do with that. As someone who's in the entertainment industry, that must be a daily struggle to overcome.
Yeah, it was something that I realized that I had to overcome. I never really enjoyed reading, but now I'm at the point where I understand how I have to handle it better and deal with it. So reading is becoming a lot more easier for me. But if you're going to be in the entertainment business, that is one thing you have to overcome, because it's just, you have to read so many scripts, and it's something. But that is what made me more of a visual person, which helped my acting also.
Mm-hmm. So what stood out to me more than anything in Rob Zombie's Halloween remakes was the backstory of Michael Myers, but also his sheer brutality. Was it, there was nothing quick or efficient with the way he dispensed with victims in those movies. It was angry and devastating. I'm just wondering, how did that on-screen approach come about? Was that just all you, or was that you talked about it with Rob, or was it just from the get-go, that's the direction you wanted to go?
Well, I wanted to. I watched all the other Halloweens, and I decided that I wanted to make a more than one-dimensional character, as Rob was looking for. So I had to figure out how I was going to do that. And I said, "Well, Rob, Rob and I both agreed and realized that there's nothing like a clean kill. So they're going to be dirty, they're going to be messy, and there's going to be an aftermath to them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly the way." The approach that we took on it, and Rob, being an entertainer himself, he realizes, he hires the people to do the roles because he trusts them, and he knows that they can do what they're supposed to do. So, but it was fun, every morning collaborating. Okay, how are we going to kill this person? And it was great to be on set with Rob and everyone else, just figuring out how we were going to make it the most vicious, brutal Halloween we could.
And it has to be asked, since 1978, the Michael Myers character never spoke. That wasn't until the conclusion of Zombies Halloween 2. Your Myers had a message for Dr. Loomis. Can you talk about the process that you came to that decision? Was that, obviously it was a rather large decision, taking that particular road to have Michael Myers speak.
Yeah, it's just, it was sort of like a nice bookend to all of it, him kind of getting his voice back, so to speak, or whatever you want to call it. But it was just like, it just seemed the right thing to do at the time, and it stuck. So.
Mm-hmm. When you go to conventions and whatnot, do people ask you about that a lot, or is there any backlash from that? Like the diehards who thought that wasn't something that should happen? Do you ever encounter anything like that?
Well, look, you're always going to have people that like the film. You're going to always have people that don't like the film.
Mm-hmm.
And I just say, look, it is Rob's version of these films, and if you don't like them, I'm sorry about that, but then you can watch the other ones, and it's just all how everybody interprets it,
Mm-hmm.
And that's the beauty of film, is everybody takes away something different from their own personal experiences as to how a film plays out.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's why I love the art of filmmaking and acting, because everybody gets something different out of it. And, yeah, not everybody's going to like it.
You portrayed Ajax in a star-studded Troy cast. How do the sets and approaches differ for an epic like that as opposed to comic book action like X-Men and horror such as Halloween?
Oh, you just prepare. You prepare for your role the same way. You
Mm-hmm.
just research your character in that, and it was just fantastic to be on set with these people and to be able to go and play, so to speak, with all those great names. It's fantastic. Like I say, and continue saying, is I've been very lucky throughout my career, to be able to do these films like X-Men, which was, phenomenal cast, and Troy and the Halloweens. I've been very lucky.
Mm-hmm. Now, back in the day, you'd done some professional wrestling. You training with the Hart family, tag teaming with Kevin Nash. I was really looking forward to asking this question because for those who wrestle, I feel they don't get the level of respect that they deserve. Physically and mentally answering the call with such a grueling schedule, but also the idea that, just because it's choreographed to an extent, the beating that, your body takes is very real, isn't it?
Yeah, you're going day in, day out. When I was wrestling 200, 300 days a year, different city every night. And it just beats the heck out of your body. It's because you don't have time to really heal and rest. You just got to go put on the next show. And it is very physically demanding. You have 200-300 pounders picking each other up and dropping yourselves on their heads. It's going to hurt. Things
Mm-hmm.
are gonna happen. But that's part of the job and part of the game. And we chose to do it. And for me, it was a great stepping stone to where I am now, because it teaches you the fight choreography that you need for doing film.
Mm-hmm. While we're talking about wrestling, after all the years and the matches, you have to have a dynamite behind-the-scenes wrestling story you can share with us.
Oh, gosh. Well, I was wrestling in Japan. I can't remember who I was in the match with, but right when an earthquake hit, which was kind of interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you wonder what the heck's happening, and you got to decide whether you want to finish the match or just get the hell out of there. And we finished the match, and it came off good. And then and in South Africa, I was in a riot and stuck in the ring with the Angel of Death for probably about a half hour, 45 minutes, with people throwing chairs, tables, rocks at us, whatever they could find.
Wow.
That was kind of interesting. Had a pile of chairs taller than both of us when we finally got out of the ring, but that was interesting.
All right, so
I got a few stories.
sounds like it. All right, I've asked this of many of our guests who've worked in the horror genre and hit the convention circuit, so I'm interested in hearing your story. What is the strangest request you've gotten from a fan, either at a convention, through the mail, chance encounter on the street, something like that?
Well, the funniest thing is I did a movie called Joe Dirt,
Okay.
And I had someone wanting me to sign a chewed apple core, because that's what I did in the movie. I said, it's not going to work, And they thought about it and go, yeah, you're probably right. But that was kind of the weirdest. But, I've been asked to sign boobs, and they're going to get it tattooed. I'm like, I don't really think you want my name there for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
It just, things like that.
The person with the apple core, was that because that was the only thing they had with them, or that was just their brilliant idea that this would be unique?
That was their brilliant idea, that it would be unique. It was, interesting.
Yeah. All right, I have one more question. Before I get to that, I have to ask, how often do people confuse you with Hugo Weaving? Because facially, particularly when you both have beards, it's astonishing how much you guys look alike.
I'll have to take a look and check into that.
Really, no one's ever told you that before?
No, you're the first.
Wow. Well, I feel honored. So, what do you have in the works right now, be it production for Main Entertainment or another project?
I'm talking to a bunch of people about 3 different projects right now, and also Penance Lane. We're looking to. We were going to film it in North Carolina, but we're having to find a new home because North Carolina pulled their tax incentives. So we're thinking about filming Penance Lane either in Canada or in Mississippi or Louisiana, somewhere around there, and probably the first quarter of this next year. So we're keeping busy at Main Entertainment.
Good. Well, hey, thanks for taking a few minutes to talk with us today. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. And please send everybody to mainentertainment.com and Facebook and Twitter. It's Main Entertain.
All right, I will do that. You take care.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Yep, bye.